Well, guys, I've been on the record. Washington, D.C. should be run by the federal government and not their own local government. Washington, D.C. should not have a mayor. Washington, D.C. should not have electoral votes. They are not a state. They're not. But for some reason, guys, I think this actually goes back to like the 1970s. Washington, D.C. is pretty much run by Democrats, and it is a hellhole, folks. I remember last year, I was doing videos on elected politicians getting carjacked in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not a safe city. Why? Because Democrats run Washington, D.C. The federal government needs to take over. Just that simple, man. President Trump, man, I believe he's been very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Very patient with Washington, D.C. No, he needs to take over that city. He does. Because one thing we know about Trump, man, when he's in charge, man, crime goes down. If you put a Democrat in power, crime rises. And of course, you know, the mainstream media is going to be like, well, crime is down in Washington, D.C. No, it is still violent out there. Real violent. Now, guys, everyone knows about Bitballs from DOGE, right? Folks, he got beat up by some young thugs out there in Washington, D.C. in an apparent, you guessed it, carjacking. Carjacking, folks. Those thugs, man, out there in Washington, D.C., they don't care who you are. They don't. The federal government needs to take over Washington, D.C. That's the way the founding fathers intended it. It was never intended that Washington, D.C. would actually be its own local government. No, not supposed to be like that. It's a federal administration. All of Washington, D.C. is federal land. All of it. Muriel Bowser should not be the mayor. That shouldn't be a mayor. Effectively, man, the president of the United States should be the mayor of Washington, D.C. Just that simple, man. But let's go ahead and get into this, man. This is crazy. Here we go. Right here. 2 juveniles arrested in bloody D.C. attack on ex-DOGE worker known as Bitballs. Trump says he will exert powers to federalize Capitol if crime continues after weekend attack. Well, I got news for you, President Trump. Democrats run the local government. And do you guys think that Democrats are actually going to make crime decrease? Nah, not going to happen. Stop being patient with these Democrats. Says here, authorities announce the arrest of 2 teens in connection with the brutal beating of a former DOGE employee that allegedly took place during an attempted carjacking in the nation's capital over the weekend. A 15-year-old boy, and because they're teenagers, we're not going to find out their names and their faces, and a 15-year-old girl, both of Hyattsville, Maryland, now face charges of unarmed carjacking. Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department said Tuesday. Police did not provide their identities as both suspects are juveniles. Police said the investigation remains ongoing with multiple suspects still outstanding. So I don't know how many people tried to carjack them. This is insane. The victim, Edward Kornstein, nicknamed Bitballs, was assaulted around 3 a.m. Folks, what is 15-year-olds doing out at 3 a.m.? What are parents, man? Where are the mother and father? Wow. Anyway, assaulted around 3 a.m. Sunday by a group of teenagers in the city's Logan Circle neighborhood. The teens attempted to carjack him and a woman whom police identified as his significant other, according to authorities. Look at this, guys. Bitballs his face is a bloody mess. This is what happens, man, when you put Democrats in charge. This is what happens. Police said Kornstein pushed the woman into the vehicle for safety and turned to confront the group. At least several of the teens then attacked him, police said, until officers patrolling nearby intervened. As officers moved towards the group, the teens fled on foot. Kornstein, one of the most visible figures of President Donald Trump's DOGE, was left bloodied in the attack, according to a photo the president shared on his Truth Social platform on Tuesday. The assault prompted Trump to threaten to federalize Washington, D.C., calling for local minors and gang members over the age of 14 to be prosecuted as adults. But we know Washington, D.C., Democrats, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, President Trump. We know this. We're talking about left-wing leftist Democrats here. This is what he posted. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again. President Trump, it's been happening for years. Playtime is over with, man. Federalize Washington, D.C. the way it was actually meant to be. It was meant to be run by the federal government. Former DOGE head Elon Musk weighed in on X, sharing more of the story. And it seems like he actually agrees with President Trump on federalizing D.C. He says a few days ago, a gang of about a dozen young men tried to assault a woman in a car at night in D.C. A DOGE team member saw what was happening, ran to defend her, and was severely beaten to the point of concussion. But he saved her. It is time to federalize D.C. Yeah. I completely agree with that, man. I do. It's time to strip the Democrats of power in Washington, D.C. The executive branch, the federal government, needs to take charge. Just that simple, man. If Trump federalizes Washington, D.C., guess what? Crime is going to go down immediately. Because if you commit a crime, guess what? You're in big trouble. Big trouble. But when Democrats run it, oh no. These kids, man, they just need something to do, man. They're going to go soft on them. No. Don't go soft on them. Don't do it, man. That is ridiculous, man. I know, like I said, I talked about other elected politicians, Democrats and Republicans, by the way, get carjacked in Washington, D.C. This is the first time I can actually think of where someone was actually beaten. I think the other ones, they just kind of gave up, said, all right, take my car. But this guy right here, he said, nah, not going to allow you to do this. So what do you guys make of this, man? Isn't it time to federalize the federal government? And if there's like a dozen other ones, man, they all need to be caught and prosecuted as adults. But at least 2 of them now have found out. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you next time.